Scotland has no shortage of spectacular beauty spots by the roadside, but some of the most beautiful places are far off the beaten track. Very far off. For the most dedicated of punters, there are just two ways to access the country's most remote pub: by boat on a 7-mile sea crossing or via an 18-mile hike through the Scottish Highlands. But once you get there, nestled in the village of Inverie on the west coast of Scotland beside a sea loch, you'll find the beloved community-owned Old Forge pub. Punters say it's one of the last wildernesses, and it's certainly one of the most inaccessible. Mountains teem over the Knoydart Peninsula, and the sea loch of Loch Nevis carves the village's coastline, where no roads lead. The Old Forge on reopening night. Image, the Old Forge CBS Limited, SWNS. It takes about 15 hours to trek from Glenfinnan to Inverie, but punters who have gone to the trouble of making the journey on foot are glad to have done it. Indeed, the pub's tagline is "worth the journey." Ally Turner and Glynis Mathieson of Dundee say they battled atrocious weather on the walkover, but rewarded themselves with an order of the pub's hand-cut chips. Inverie sits beside the sea loch of Loch Nevis. Image, Universal Images Group via Getty Images. The weather was atrocious, but it made it well worth it in the end, Glynis told BBC Radio Scotland. It's one of the last wildernesses, and it feels very special when you finish that journey. And when you rest your weary legs and tuck into some pub grub, you'll be directly supporting the locals. The Old Forge is one of the few community-owned pubs in Scotland, having been taken over by about half of the local population. Inverie is home to about 130 people, of whom 70 are shareholders in their local. The community rallied to raise £1 million through crowdfunding and grants to buy and refurbish the pub back in 2022. Glynis added, "It's just a nice story, and it's a special community." The tiny local community in the remote Highlands village of Inverie scraped together over £1 million to purchase and renovate the beloved pub. Image, the Old Forge CBS Limited, SWNS. If you want to reach Inverie, you'll have to traverse the Scottish Highlands on foot. Here a walker walks along the Cape Wrath Trail from Kinlochhourn to Inverie on the Knoydart Peninsula, one of the remotest wilderness areas in Scotland. When the community took ownership of the pub, one of their priorities was the return of live music. You'll find almighty sessions, with the crack on high form in the summer months when as many as 20 musicians squeeze around a few tables to play into the wee hours. As the Old Forge says, you deserve a great pint after making the journey. Our wee pub strives to offer the best there is, and support local all the way.